Hey, so today I'm going to be showing you how to compile OpenRV on macOS. It's a really popular, commonly used video player in the animation and VFX industries, and I've kind of been seeing people on the internet saying they've been running into issues or having trouble building it. So I thought I'd make a video that kind of like shows how the whole process is done from start to finish, and it's like especially relevant, at least currently, because the Academy Software Foundation doesn't provide any like pre-built binaries or executables, so the only way to get it on your own machine is to build it yourself. So these steps are basically taken directly from OpenRV's own documentation, but I might have streamlined things a bit and rearranged some things for my own personal way of how I like to build it. But it's just mostly from the documentation. I also provided written instructions for easy copy pasting. Down in the description below, there's a Git repo, and I'll try to keep that updated, as any future changes might happen to the build process and things might not match up exactly to what I'm saying in the video. Yeah, I'll try to keep it updated there. But yeah, other than that, let's get started. All right, we're looking at a completely fresh macOS install here. It has none of the existing tools we need installed already to build OpenRV, so we're going to do everything fresh and from scratch. We're going to follow the steps here in order. You can see that they kind of pretty closely mirror what we have in the official docs. The first one is allow the terminal to update or delete other applications. So we'll start that. You start by going to the system settings, and then it's under privacy and security, app management, and then we need to allow the terminal. Oh, and you're going to have to type your password as well. We need to allow terminal. It's under utilities and open. So there's that. And then next step is install Homebrew. So you're going to go to the official Homebrew website, and then just copy their installation script here. You can press that button. Let's get the terminal open. You can search for it in the launchpad and then paste the install command. You will have to type your sudo password as well. It's normal not to see characters as you type in the terminal as you type a password. Hit enter to accept. And this part is going to take a while because it's going to install also the Xcode command line tools at the same time. The Xcode command line tools, I usually like to let just the command line tools be installed, unlike how the official docs recommend, because then you save a lot of space. Because the App Store version of Xcode takes up like over 30 gigabytes or something, and yeah. Anyway, that's just how I like to do it. You can install the App Store version like it recommends in the docs. That's up to you. All right, so now that we have Homebrew installed, we're just going to double check that this command brew version works. Also, remember to reopen a new terminal window after you installed it, because the brew command is probably not going to be in your path until you reopen the terminal. So it should print out a version there. And now we can go on to the next step. So in general, you're going to want to run brew update like every time you install something new, but since we just installed it, it's probably just going to say there's nothing to update. But in the future, you would be running this command, and then the command is also in the official documentation here, and this might be changing, so maybe it's better to get it from the official documentation, but I have it here as well. So we're going to install these tools via the Homebrew package manager. Probably also take a little while. Alright, so the next step is to install CMake, but currently OpenRV needs major version 3 of CMake, and the one in Homebrew is version 4. So we can't just say brew install CMake like this, or else it will install the wrong version. You can install an older version. I think the docs recommend 3.317 through the official website, but I kind of prefer to still do it through Homebrew, even though this is a bit of a workaround, so I don't have to like add things to the path manually and stuff. Feel free to diverge from this step, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. So to do that, first we need to create a new custom tab. So we'll do that here, and it will turn on developer mode and like a bunch of other stuff so that we can like create our own source of packages here. And then the next step here is we're going to clone the full Homebrew repo, because it has to be able to search through the old packages. So it will It will take up a bit of space and it will take a while, but we're just going to remove it right after we're done with it. So the next step is to find the last version in Homebrew that was compatible, and I already checked, it's 3.316, at least as of the current moment. If RV becomes compatible with like version 4 of CMake, then you don't have to do all this stuff. But yeah, we're gonna get this version here, 3.316. And do that, and then we need to extract the package, or sorry, install the new the extracted package. I believe this step will also take a while because it probably has to compile from scratch. All right, so it looks like that step is done. Again, we will need to open a new window. I just opened a new tab here, Command T for a new tab, to before we check if CMake has been added to the path. So if it's successful, it should print CMake and the version here that we installed. So make sure that it's saying that. And then this step, we're going to untap the Homebrew archive. So that'll delete that 1 gigabyte of the entire Homebrew history, and finally turn developer mode back off. All right. Okay, so the next step is we need to install Qt. This we have to do from their website. So here's the link, macOS. Choose the online installer and yeah, allow. Okay, so I'm on an ARM64 Mac and I haven't installed Rosetta yet on this, so we'll do that real quick. Rosetta is just a piece of software that allows you to run x64 applications on an ARM64 Mac. All right, so this is the online installer. This is the way that the RV documentation recommends to install Qt. It is free, but you do have to make an account, unfortunately. All right, so once you've logged in with an account, you should be greeted with this screen. You just have to agree. Yeah, I'm an individual. Yep. You might run into this error saying that Xcode isn't found. In my experience, it doesn't really matter. Just ignore it. It still will compile just fine. Okay, so again, like saving space. So I don't go with just the default. And anyways, at least at the current moment, you're also not going to want to go with version 6.9. The RV docs specify that you have to go with version 6.5. So uncheck that and then go down, make sure custom installation is checked down here. All right, so this is where we consult our handy little chart here. So these are the exact minimal set of libraries that we need to keep the installation small. So I'm just gonna match that. So we're gonna open all of these and leave everything else unchecked. Okay, 6.53 is the one that RV recommends. And then under that, we can uncheck everything except for these ones here. So macOS sources, and then under additional libraries, all we need, so you can see this here is shrinking by quite a bit. Make sure we get the right ones here. So Qt multimedia is needed, and positioning, Qt positioning, and Qt web channel and web engine. That should be it. Under build tools, make sure CMake and Ninja are checked. Next, I believe you have to agree to licenses. Yep, that looks right. Install. And again, this is going to take a while because it has to download a bunch of stuff and install it. All right, so now Qt has been installed. We can click finish. All right, so the next step is downloading the OpenRV source code. First, let's make a directory to put the source code into. So if you just follow this command here, it's gonna make a directory in your documents folder, and then under open source, you may have to allow it to access. Use the cd command to change directory, so that's your current directory. You can use the pwd command. It will print out the the current directory as well, so you know which directory you're running the commands from. The source code is hosted on GitHub here, and we just need to clone the repo with this command here. So let's do that. All right, and then let's change directory into the OpenRV directory. And then now we are finally at the step of building the actual application. So we need to do a little bit of setup first before we run the build commands. You just run these in order here. So RV setup. These commands you only have to run the first time that you build RV, these first three. This is the bootstrapping command. I believe this is slightly different from the documentation. And RV configure. And finally, the build command. So this step is going to take a pretty long time, at least on my machine. All right, so once the project is done compiling, you'll find the executable inside this directory inside the OpenRV repository. So we can list here what's here, and it should be here. If you prefer, you can also find it in the Finder. So we put in open source RV, then underscore build, stage, app, and here's the application. We can just drag it over there, and then it should show up. RV. And there you go. You can also open RV directly from the command line. Just call the binary. So type in the path, applications, RV, contents, macOS, RV, and there you go. So there you have it. That's how you compile OpenRV on your own system. But one thing that I didn't mention at the beginning of the video is there are some non-free codecs like AAC and HEVC that aren't going to be able by default, but you can enable them with some compile flags. Check the written instructions on exactly how to do that. In the documentation though, the Academy Software Foundation does warn that you should consult your legal department on whether you have the licenses to use those codecs. I guess that's relevant if you're like a studio building the software yourself. And I guess it's also going to be relevant if you plan on like distributing the binaries and executables on the internet. I would do your research before you start doing that. I'm not really a legal expert, so I can't really give you advice on that. And yeah, like I mentioned, I'll try to keep the Git repo with the written instructions updated. There's also instructions there on how to rebuild the project after the first time. It should go a bit faster since you're not having to compile all the dependencies. And also, of course, if there's like some updates or bug fixes or new features that you want as time passes, then you're gonna need to rebuild OpenRV to take advantage of those. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any issues or problems building the project, and may or may not be able to help. But yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoy OpenRV, and thanks for watching.